The Galactic Assembly Hall was the largest building had ever seen. It stretched so far that clouds formed near the ceiling. Thousands of aliens filled the seats, and each one looked stranger than the last. Some had scales that shimmered like oil on water. Others had too many eyes or too many legs or bodies made of living crystal. The air smelled like 100 different worlds mixed together. Stood with the Earth delegation near the back of the hall. She was small compared to most species here. Her black hair was tied back in a simple ponytail, and she wore the uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Next to the 4-meter-tall delegates, she looked like a child standing among adults. Today was the annual cultural exchange. Every species in the Galactic Union sent representatives to share information about there. It was supposed to build understanding between different civilizations, but had noticed something during her 3 years in space. These meetings were never really about understanding. They were about showing off. Every species wanted to prove they were the strongest, the most dangerous. Ambassador Thorn of the Empire stood at the central platform. He was a creature with a hard shell the color of dried blood. His 4 arms ended in claws that could cut through steel. His compound eyes reflected the light of 1,000 screens. They had conquered 37 star systems through pure military force. They believed strength was the only thing that mattered in the universe. Today we discuss apex predators, Thorn announced. His voice came through the translator as a deep rumble. Each species will present the most dangerous creature from there. We will see whose planet breeds true power. Watched the presentations with quiet interest. They showed their ocean leviathans. These creatures lived in the deep waters of there and grew larger than starships. Their teeth were each the size of a ground transport vehicle. The footage showed one swallowing a submarine whole. The went next. They were beings of living crystal, and their predators were swarms of silicon-based hunters that moved like storms across their desert world. The swarms could strip a creature to bones in minutes. Then they showed themselves. Thorn narrated footage of his people hunting across barren moons. They moved in packs of 8, using their natural weapons to bring down creatures 3 times their size. Their exoskeletons could survive in vacuum. Their claws could punch through armor. They healed from wounds that would kill most species. "They are the apex predators of our world," Thorn said proudly. "We have no natural enemies. Nothing hunts us. We are the hunters." The crowd made sounds of approval. They were known throughout the galaxy as fearsome warriors. No one wanted to argue with them. More species presented their predators. Giant flying creatures with wingspans of 50 meters. Acid-spitting reptiles that hunted in underground caves. Parasites that could control the minds of their hosts. Each presentation tried to be more impressive than the last. Finally, Thorn turned his compound eyes toward the Earth delegation. His mandibles clicked in what's translator identified as amusement. "And now the humans," he said. "Tell us, small ones, what creature claims the top of your food chain? What beast rules your little blue world?" Felt the eyes of the entire assembly turn toward her. Thousands of aliens waited for her answer. She could feel their expectations. They expected something big, something with teeth and claws and armor, something that looked dangerous. She stepped forward onto the speaking platform. The platform adjusted its height, but she was still shorter than most of the delegates. She heard quiet sounds of laughter from several sections of the hall. The translator picked up words like tiny and soft and harmless. Did not mind. She had heard such words many times before. "Ambassador Thorn," she said, her voice calm and clear. "You asked about Earth's apex predator, the creature that sits at the top of our food chain, the species that no other creature on our planet hunts." "Yes, yes," Thorn said impatiently. "Show us your monster." Smiled. It was a small smile, just a slight curve of her lips. Then she raised her hand. "You are looking at her," she said. Silence fell over the assembly hall. It lasted for 3 heartbeats. Then the laughter started. It came from everywhere. clicking and whistling and rumbling sounds of amusement from 1,000 different species. The delegates shook with what their body language showed as mockery. They made deep booming sounds that rattled the floor. Even the crystal vibrated in patterns that meant humor. Thorn leaned forward, his compound eyes bright with contempt. You, a small, soft creature with no claws, no fangs, no venom or armor, you cannot even see ultraviolet light. You cannot hear frequencies that children of other species can detect. Your skin tears at the slightest touch. Your bones break under moderate pressure. You are made of water and meat and nothing else. Waited for the laughter to quiet down. Her smile never changed. Everything you said is true, she agreed. We have no natural weapons. We are not fast. We are not strong. Our senses are limited compared to many species. Then how can you claim to be predators? Thorn demanded. You are prey. Your entire species looks like prey. And yet, said softly, nothing on Earth hunts us. Nothing. We drove our only natural predators to extinction thousands of years ago. Every large carnivore on our planet survives only because we allow it to survive. We decide which species live and which species die. The laughter faded. Something in her voice made the aliens pay attention. Would you like me to explain how? Asked. Or would you prefer a demonstration? Thorn's mandibles clicked slowly. A demonstration? What kind of demonstration? A hunt, said. Let me show you how humans hunt. Thorn accepted the challenge quickly. He thought it would be an easy way to shame the humans in front of the entire Galactic Assembly. The rules were simple. Would hunt on a neutral planet called Nexus 7. She had 3 days to kill a dangerous predator. If she failed, Earth would admit that humans were not apex predators. If she succeeded, the Assembly would recognize human claims. Nexus 7 was a wild world with thick forests, open plains, and rocky mountains. The planet was home to many dangerous creatures. The Galactic Union used it for training exercises and survival tests. Many species had died there over the centuries. Was allowed to bring only what she could carry. She chose carefully: a knife with a steel blade, a length of strong rope, a container for water, a small kit for starting fires. She also brought a simple first aid pack and some dried food. The observers watched her pack these items. They made sounds of disbelief. No guns, one asked. No energy weapons, no armor. No, said simply. You will die within hours, the predicted. Did not argue, she simply finished packing. She had asked for one more thing: a partner. The Assembly allowed it because pack hunting was common among many species. Lieutenant arrived the night before the hunt began. He was a young man with short black hair and quiet eyes. He moved with the careful grace of someone who spent a lot of time outdoors. He carried a bow that he had made himself during the journey to Nexus 7, along with a quiver of simple arrows. Ready? Asked him. Always, he replied. They assigned a dozen drones to follow the humans and record everything. The footage would be broadcast to the Assembly in real time. Thousands of aliens would watch the hunt. Most expected to see 2 soft creatures die quickly and badly. The hunt began at dawn on a cool morning, and were dropped in a forest zone near a river. The trees were tall with purple leaves. Strange birds called from the branches above. The air smelled of alien flowers and wet earth. For the first hour they simply walked. They moved through the forest at a steady pace, not fast, not slow, just a comfortable walking speed that they could maintain for hours. The observers grew confused. What are they doing? A lieutenant asked through the drone's communication system. Why are they not hunting? Did not answer, she just kept walking. They stopped at the river to fill their water containers, found some roots that were safe to eat and added them to their supplies. Then they continued walking. They crossed the river at a shallow point and entered a grassland beyond the forest. The sun rose higher, the temperature increased, and kept walking. By midday, they had covered 20 kilometers. They had not stopped except for water and a short rest. The drones followed them, and the observers grew more confused with each passing hour. "This is not hunting," Thorne said from the assembly hall. He watched the feed with growing impatience. "This is just walking. They are accomplishing nothing." But some of the other delegates were starting to watch more carefully. The scientist had pulled up data on human biology. She was studying it with great interest. The humans walked through the afternoon. The grassland gave way to rocky hills. They climbed without complaint, their breathing steady, their pace unchanged. When the sun began to set, they had covered more than 40 kilometers. "Impossible," a delegate said. "No creature walks that far in one day without rest." "Humans do," the scientist replied. She was looking at her. "Their bodies are designed for long-distance travel. They cool themselves by releasing liquid through their skin. They can maintain moderate activity for hours without stopping." The humans made camp as darkness fell, started a small fire while set up a simple shelter. They ate a small meal from their supplies. They drank water. Then they divided the night into watches. One slept while the other guarded. The drones recorded everything. The observers waited for something to happen. Nothing did. The humans simply rested. Day 2 began before sunrise. Was already awake, studying the ground near their camp. She had found tracks in the soft earth. Large tracks, 6-legged. "Nexus Stalker," she said quietly. Came to look. The Nexus Stalker was one of the most dangerous predators on this world. It was the size of a small ground vehicle, with 6 powerful legs and jaws that could crush bone. It could run at speeds of 90 kilometers per hour in short bursts. Hunting parties usually needed 8 warriors to bring one down. Studied the tracks for a long time. She measured the depth of each footprint. She looked at the distance between them. She examined how the creature's weight shifted as it moved. "It is hurt," she said finally. "Back left leg. The injury happened maybe 6 hours ago." "How can you know that?" the drone operator demanded. Did not explain. She simply stood up and looked at, "We follow." They began walking again, following the tracks, moving at that same steady pace. The stalker's trail led across rocky ground, through a narrow valley, and up into the hills beyond. The stalker sensed them around midday. It ran. Its 6 legs carried it over the rocks at incredible speed. Within minutes, it was 2 kilometers ahead. And did not run after it. They just kept walking, following the tracks, one step after another after another. The stalker stopped to rest. The humans kept coming. It ran again, put another 2 kilometers between them, stopped to rest. The humans kept coming. By evening, the stalker had run 5 times. Each time it ran, it went a shorter distance. Each time it stopped, it rested longer. The humans never changed their pace. They never stopped for more than a few minutes. They just kept coming. Night fell. The stalker tried to hide in a cave. The humans made camp nearby and waited. In the assembly hall, the laughter had stopped completely. Every delegate was watching now. Watching 2 small, soft creatures walk a deadly predator to exhaustion. "What are they?" Thorne asked quietly. No one had an answer. The 3rd day began with pale light creeping over the hills. The Nexus Stalker was still in its cave. It had not slept well. Every few hours through the night, it had heard sounds from the human camp. Voices, movement, the crackle of fire, the prey that would not leave, the prey that would not stop. Woke before dawn. She checked her equipment, drank water, and ate a small portion of dried food. Did the same. They moved with the calm efficiency of people who had done this many times before. "It is still in there," said, looking at the cave entrance. "It will come out when the sun warms the rocks," replied. "Stalkers do not like cold caves." She was right. As the morning sun touched the hillside, the stalker emerged. It was a magnificent creature. Its body was covered in thick scales the color of rust. Its 6 legs were built for speed and power. Its jaws could crush rocks, but something was different about it now. Its movements were slow and uncertain. Its injured leg dragged slightly. Its breathing was heavy and labored. The creature saw the humans waiting on a ridge 200 meters away. For a moment, predator and prey watched each other. Then the stalker turned and ran. But it did not run like before. Its speed was half what it had been yesterday. Its injured leg slowed it down, and exhaustion made every movement difficult. After only 500 meters, it stopped. Its sides heaved. Its tongue hung from its mouth, and began walking. In the assembly hall, the scientist was explaining what was happening. Her crystalline voice cut through the silence of the watching delegates. "The humans use a hunting method that no other known species employs," she said. "They call it persistence hunting. They do not try to catch their prey in a single chase. They follow it, for hours, for days, until the prey cannot run anymore." "But how?" a delegate asked. "How can they outlast a creature built for speed?" "Their biology," the scientist explained. "Most species cool themselves by breathing rapidly or finding shade. When they run, they generate heat faster than they can release it. Eventually, their bodies overheat and their muscles fail. Humans are different. They release heat through liquid that seeps from their skin. They can regulate their body temperature while moving. They can maintain activity in conditions that would kill other species." She pulled up more data. The stalker can run at 90 kilometers per hour, but only for short periods. Then it must stop and cool down. The humans move at perhaps 6 kilometers per hour, slow by comparison, but they never stop. They never overheat. They simply keep coming. On the screens, the hunt continued. The stalker ran again. This time it managed only 300 meters before stopping. Its legs were shaking. Its breathing was harsh and rapid. The heat inside its body was building faster than it could escape. The humans kept walking. Thorne watched with growing unease. "This is not hunting," he said. "This is something else. They are not chasing it. They are haunting it." "They are patient," another delegate said quietly. "More patient than any creature I have seen." By midday, the stalker could barely move. It had run 12 times since dawn. Each run was shorter than the last. Its powerful legs that could have carried it to safety were now trembling with exhaustion. Its internal temperature had risen to dangerous levels. Its muscles were failing. The humans were 300 meters behind, walking, always walking. Their faces showed no anger or excitement, just calm focus, just patience. The stalker turned to face them. It was a predator by nature. When it could not run, it would fight. It gathered the last of its strength and charged at the approaching humans. Raised his bow. He did not aim for a killing shot. He aimed for the already injured leg. The arrow flew straight and struck the damaged joint. The stalker stumbled but did not fall. It kept coming, jaws open, ready to kill. The humans stepped apart. They moved in different directions, forcing the creature to choose a target. It lunged at. She calmly, like a dancer avoiding a clumsy partner. The stalker's jaws closed on empty air. It tried to turn and attack again, but its body would not obey. Its legs buckled. It fell to the ground, sides heaving, eyes wild with fear and exhaustion. The humans did not attack. They simply waited, watching, patient. The stalker tried to rise. It managed to get 2 legs under itself before collapsing again. It made a sound that the translator could not interpret. Perhaps it was rage. Perhaps it was despair. An hour passed. The stalker stopped trying to rise. Its breathing slowed. Its eyes began to lose their focus. Its body was shutting down, overwhelmed by heat and exhaustion and the stress of being hunted by creatures that simply would not stop. Approached slowly. She knelt beside the dying creature. Her hand touched its scaled head, gentle and careful. She spoke words in her native Korean. The translator did not catch them, but the tone was unmistakable. Respect, gratitude, sorrow. Then she drew her knife and ended the creature's suffering with a single quick cut. Silence in the assembly hall. Every delegate watched the 2 small humans standing over the body of one of the most dangerous predators on Nexus 7. They had no claws, no fangs, no armor. They had walked their prey to death. 3 days, Thorn said. His voice was strange, empty of its usual arrogance. They hunted for 3 days without stopping. They did not overpower it. They simply refused to let it rest until its own body destroyed itself. The scientist nodded slowly. Now you understand. Humans are not prey. They are something far more frightening. They are the monsters that follow you in the dark, the shadows that are always behind you, the hunters that never give up. On the screen, looked directly at one of the drones. She raised her hand and waved. She was smiling. The assembly reconvened 1 week after the hunt. The Great Hall was just as crowded as before, but the atmosphere was completely different. There was no laughter now, no sounds of amusement or contempt when walked to the central platform. The thousands of alien delegates watched her with new eyes. They had seen what she could do. They had watched her walk a deadly predator to death, and they were afraid. Stood at the platform and looked out at the sea of alien faces. She saw the warriors with their hard shells and sharp claws. She saw the towering. She saw the crystal and the feathered and dozens of species she did not even know. All of them were waiting for her to speak. You asked about Earth's apex predator, she began. Her voice was calm and clear. I gave you my answer. Some of you did not believe me, so I showed you. Now you have seen how humans hunt, but I do not think you truly understand what you saw. She activated the display screen behind her. An image of Earth appeared. Blue oceans, green land, white clouds, a small planet in a small solar system at the edge of the galaxy. My world is not impressive by galactic standards, said. It has no giant predators like the ocean leviathans, no swarm hunters like the silicon storms, nothing that would frighten the warriors. And yet, humans became the dominant species on Earth. We became the apex predator. How? She changed the image. Now the screen showed early humans, small and naked on an African plain, surrounded by lions and hyenas and other predators with teeth and claws. Our ancestors had no natural weapons. They were slower than the animals that hunted them. They were weaker than the animals they wanted to eat. By every logical measure, they should have been prey. They should have been food for something stronger and faster. The image changed again. Humans hunting a large deer-like animal. They were carrying simple wooden spears. They were running. But they had one advantage. They could run for days without stopping. They could follow their prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. This is called persistence hunting. No other species on Earth hunts this way. No other species could. We are the only creatures in the known galaxy with this ability. Thorn shifted in his seat. His compound eyes were fixed on the screen. But persistence was only the beginning, continued. When following prey was not enough, we made tools. The images changed rapidly. Stone knives, wooden spears, bows and arrows, each weapon more advanced than the last. When tools were not enough, we made better tools. Rifles, tanks, aircraft, ships that crossed oceans. And when individual strength was not enough, we learned to work together. Images of human armies, human cities, human civilizations rising across the earth. No human can defeat a lion alone, but humans never fight alone. We share information. We teach our children what we learned. We build on the knowledge of those who came before us. Each generation becomes stronger than the last, not through evolution, through learning. She paused and let the images fade. The hall was completely silent. You, Ambassador Thorn, lead a species of warriors. Your people are powerful. Your natural weapons are impressive. You conquered 37 star systems through strength, but I must ask you a question. Thorn's mandibles clicked nervously. Ask. What happens when you meet an enemy you cannot defeat through strength alone? The ambassador did not answer. Nodded slowly. The strategy is to be stronger than your enemies. The strategy is to be larger than your enemies. The strategy is to be faster than your enemies. These are all valid strategies. They have worked for millions of years. She walked to the edge of the platform, closer to the delegates. Her small body was nothing compared to the massive aliens around her. Yet somehow, in that moment, she seemed larger than all of them. The human strategy is different. We do not need to be stronger. We do not need to be faster. We do not need to be larger. We only need to survive. We only need to learn. We only need to wait. She pointed at Thorn. You can outrun us. You can overpower us. You can hide from us, but we will keep coming. We will study your weaknesses. We will adapt our tools. We will find ways to defeat you that you cannot imagine. And one day, when you are tired, when you are weak, when you think you are finally safe, we will be there, waiting. The silence in the hall was heavy. Could see fear in alien eyes that had never known fear before. That is what makes a predator, she said quietly. Not claws or fangs or venom, patience, persistence, the absolute refusal to give up. She turned and walked back to the center of the platform. Earth's apex predator is not a monster with terrible weapons. It is a small, soft creature that looks like prey, but looks can be deceiving. We are the most dangerous species on our planet not because of what we are, but because of what we do. We never stop hunting. We never stop learning. We never stop improving. Looked directly at Thorn. Her eyes were steady and calm. So I have a suggestion for you, Ambassador, for all of you. Do not make enemies of humans, because if you do, you will spend the rest of your existence looking over your shoulder, wondering when we will come, wondering how we will come, wondering if this is the day we finally catch you. She smiled that small, calm smile. And we will catch you, we always do. Lieutenant stepped forward to stand beside her, two small humans facing an assembly of galactic powers. Any questions? Asked. No one spoke. 3 months passed after speech at the Galactic Assembly. The video of her hunt had spread to every corner of known space. Billions of aliens watched a small human woman walk a deadly predator to death. Billions more watched her stand before the most powerful species in the galaxy and explain why they should be afraid of creatures made of water and meat. Some species laughed it off. They said it was a trick. They said humans were still weak and soft and harmless, but many others were not so sure. The footage was real. The science was real. Humans were something new in the galaxy, something that did not fit the old rules. Returned to her duties at Earth's diplomatic station. Life continued as normal. She attended meetings, wrote reports, and worked to build relationships between Earth and other worlds. The fame from the hunt did not change her. She was still the same quiet, patient woman she had always been. Then the distress signal came. It arrived in the middle of the night. A colony world called was under attack, not by another spacefaring species, not by enemies with ships and weapons, by animals, native creatures that had evolved resistance to weapons. They were called spine hunters by the colonists. Large creatures with armored bodies and razor-sharp spines that could pierce exoskeletons. They bred quickly and adapted faster than they could develop new weapons. The colony was failing. 300 had already died. More died each day. The spine hunters were everywhere and nothing seemed to stop them. The message that reached Earth Station was short. It came from Ambassador Thorn himself. We request human assistance. Read the message twice. She thought about the ambassador who had laughed at her, who had called humans soft and weak, who had expected her to die on Nexus 7. She sent her reply within the hour. We are coming. Assembled a team of 12 humans. Lieutenant was among them. She also brought specialists in tracking, biology, animal behavior, and environmental adaptation. They boarded a fast ship and traveled in 6 days. The planet was beautiful in a harsh way. Dense jungles covered most of the land. The sky was a strange shade of purple. The air was thick and humid. The colony sat in a cleared area near a river. It looked like a fortress under siege. High walls surrounded the buildings. Guards stood at every entrance. The fear in the colony was obvious even from space. Thorn met them at the landing pad. He looked different than remembered, smaller somehow, less confident. His compound eyes were dull with exhaustion and worry. "Thank you for coming," he said. The words seemed difficult for him, did not like asking for help. "Tell me everything," replied. They walked through the colony while Thorn explained. The spine hunters had appeared 6 months ago. At first, they were just a nuisance, small attacks that the colony could handle, but then the creatures adapted. Their armor grew thicker. Their attacks grew more organized. The weapons that killed them at first stopped working. New weapons worked for a few weeks, then stopped working too. "We have tried everything," Thorn admitted. "Heavy weapons, poison, fire, nothing works for long. They adapt too quickly. They learn from every attack we make." Nodded thoughtfully. "Show me one of the bodies." They went to a storage building where dead spine hunters were kept for study. The creatures were impressive. Each one was about 2 meters long with 6 legs and a body covered in overlapping armored plates. Sharp spines ran along their backs and tails. Their jaws were filled with teeth designed for tearing through hard shells. "They are pack hunters," Thorn explained. "They attack in groups of 20 or more. They target our weak points. It is like they communicate somehow." Spent an hour examining the bodies. She asked questions about the creatures' behavior, where they nested, when they attacked, what they ate. They answered as best they could. Then took her team into the jungle. For 2 weeks the humans observed the spine hunters. They tracked them through the dense vegetation. They watched their hunting patterns. They documented their behavior day and night. They worked in shifts so someone was always watching. They grew impatient. "When will you fight them?" Thorn demanded after the first week. "When will you help us kill them?" "We are helping you," replied calmly. "We are learning." By the end of the second week, had her answer. She called a meeting with the colony leaders and presented her findings. "The spine hunters are not attacking randomly," she explained. A map of the area appeared on the screen. "This area here, where your colony is built, was their primary nesting ground. You built your colony directly on top of where they breed." The leaders looked at each other in confusion. "The attacks are not predatory," continued. "They are defensive. The spine hunters do not want to eat you. They want you to leave. You are on their territory. You are threatening their young." Thorn's mandibles clicked in frustration. "So we should retreat, run away from animals." "Relocate," corrected. He pointed to another area on the map. 3 kilometers east, better water source, better defensive position, and outside spine hunter territory. "If we move the colony, will the attack stop?" a leader asked. "They should," replied. "The spine hunters are not evil. They are not monsters. They are parents protecting their children. Move away from the nesting ground and they will leave you alone." Thorn was silent for a long moment. "We came to this world as conquerors. We took what we wanted. We never thought to understand what was already here." "Most species do not think that way," agreed. "It takes time to learn." The colony relocated over the next month. It was difficult work. They had to move everything they had built to a new location, but they did it, and as predicted, the attacks stopped. The spine hunters returned to their nesting grounds and ignored the new colony completely. On the day before's team left, Thorn came to see her. They stood at the edge of the jungle, watching the purple sunset paint the sky. "I do not understand your species," Thorn admitted. "You could have used our weakness against us. You could have let us fail. We are not allies. We are not friends. We laughed at you." "You did," agreed. "So why help us?" Considered the question. She watched a flock of alien birds fly across the darkening sky. "Because being a predator is not just about killing," she said finally. "It is about choices. Any animal can kill. True predators decide when to hunt and when to wait, when to fight and when to walk away, when to destroy and when to protect." She turned to face Thorn. Her eyes were calm and steady. Humans became apex predators because we learned something that most species never understand. The galaxy is not a hunting ground. It is an ecosystem. Everything is connected. If you kill without thinking, you destroy the balance. Eventually, you destroy yourself. Thorn was silent, thinking. We could have been your enemies, continued. We could have watched you fail and enjoyed your suffering, but that would have made the galaxy a smaller, darker place. We chose to help instead, not because we are weak, because we are strong enough to choose. She offered her hand, a human gesture of peace and friendship. Thorn had learned what it meant during his time studying human behavior. Slowly, he extended one of his smaller arms and touched her palm. Perhaps, he said quietly, your species is more dangerous than I thought, not because of what you can destroy, because of what you can build. Smiled. It was the same smile she had worn in the assembly hall, the same smile she had worn standing over the body of the Nexus stalker. Now you understand, she said. That is what makes us predators, not our weapons, not our strength, our choices. She looked out at the jungle one last time. Somewhere in the darkness, the spine hunters were returning to their nests. Their young were safe. The balance was restored. The galaxy has plenty of hunters, said softly. What it needs are predators who know when not to hunt. Maybe that is what humans can teach you. Thorn watched the small human woman walk back toward her ship. She did not look dangerous. She did not look powerful. She looked like prey. But Thorn knew better now. He knew that the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy were not the ones with the biggest claws or the sharpest teeth. They were the ones who chose what kind of world they wanted to live in, and the ones who had the patience to make it happen.